we've talked a lot about how we can help Canadians, but actually, Corbin, I think you mentioned you have a new service that's
Yep,
available for Americans. Can you
absolutely.
explain that?
Yeah. So we have a partnership with a company in the U.S. And one of the things that's allowed us to do is to now serve American clients who need exchange. So most deals here are most likely done in U.S. dollars, but there's an odd case where they're done in pesos. And
Yes.
when we come and help those American clients with converting U.S. dollars to pesos, they can see significant savings, to the tune of 7% versus their, credit union in the U.S. or up to 5%.
So, for example, when an American is buying with a developer and they want pesos,
Yep.
you can exchange their US dollars to pesos through a partnership you've established.
Yep.
And that saves Americans about
It can
7%.
save them up to 7%. It depends on their bank or their credit union and who they're using. But yeah, I've seen 7%.
Well, I'm sorry, excuse my ignorance, but how come Americans get a 7% savings and Canadians might get 2 to 4%?
Yeah, you know what? I thought about this a lot, and what I think it comes down to is that Canadians are just stingier with exchange rates.
Okay. Well, that's a good enough answer, I suppose. There is no good answer. But in brief, can you explain the process for an American setting up an account with you for
Yeah.
exchange?
Yep. You know what? It's actually pretty much the same thing that help my Canadian clients with, which is an online application, and 2 to 3 days they'll have an account fully set up. They can link their account up with my partner, and everything goes pretty smoothly in the same way that I normally handle things with Canadians.
And once again, Americans can trust you because
Yeah, because our partner in the USA is Monex USA.
Monix.
They're pretty largely known down in Mexico, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that's good for me. I mean, we know that you're trustworthy, that you can do Canadian to US dollars, that the whole process is so much easier because you don't have to, fuss around with going to the bank and
Yep.
all that. It's just work with you. And I also really like what you said about how a client of Nat, which is probably not uncommon, that they can, once they open an account with you, it's not just for the property purchase, but a client can use your services for anything else, pretty much anywhere else in the world.
Absolutely. Yep.
We have to watch out a lot for money laundering laws and being compliant with both countries. And Corbin handles that also. Can you explain about that, the
Yeah, sure. Well,
compliance?
I'll share what happens when you don't do it, because a competitor of ours recently was not compliant. They did not get the necessary documents in order to send money down to Mexico, and they're in the process of potentially being shut down. So what we do is we make sure that we have all the documents before anything needs to get sent out. And if there's ever any questions, we have the paperwork, and the how do you say that again? Like the paper trail.
The paper
Yeah,
trail.
we have the paper trail of where the funds come from, which is always the client's bank account, um, into the buyer's bank account. So one of the things that'll happen when you
Wait,
have,
say that again. The buyer's documentation into the buyer's bank account?
oh, sorry, the buyer's, it always goes from the buyer's bank account into where either escrow or the seller's bank account.
I see.
One of the
Okay.
big issues with anti-money laundering is third-party transactions, where you have a bunch of different accounts funneling money to another account, and we just make sure that everything is always clean and that no one's going to run into an issue and everything's compliant.
So compliant to prove that this is a real transaction for
Exactly.
really something. The documents you've mentioned a couple of times, that's either an offer to purchase
Yep.
or the purchase contract.
Yep.
So either of those documents are on the file that show that everything is compliant with the transaction.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well, that's fantastic. Thank you for your time.